was a police officer for 15 years, but recently I had to retire due to trauma and mental health issues. It all started back about 5 years ago. I was out on a call by myself. I was responding to a case of domestic violence. I approached the door and could hear a couple arguing. Things were getting thrown around and broken. I knocked on the door and a man opened the door. He was bloody. He had a laceration above his eye and was also bruised all over his body. I couldn't even concentrate. I kept staring at his two swollen eyes. I asked him what had happened, and he told me that his wife was accusing him of cheating and attacked him with a hammer. He pleaded for me to arrest her. I could hear her throwing things in the background and hitting the walls with the hammer. The house was a mess. Out of the corner of my eye, I could see the woman rushing towards her husband with the hammer. I immediately told her to drop it. She ignored me. I asked her again to drop the hammer, and instead she yelled and threatened her husband. I gave her one final warning before administering my taser. It did absolutely nothing. She's a tiny woman, but it had no effect on her. She ripped the prongs out of her skin and rushed at her husband again. I withdrew my firearm and gave her one final warning. She ran towards me, and I had no choice but to shoot. I let off 3 rounds and heard a body drop to the floor. My vision blurred. I heard both a man and woman yell in agony. I had shot their 6-year-old son. I was in shock. How could this have happened? I called for backup, but it was too late. The woman was arrested and charged with attempted murder. I was put on desk duty for 5 months and eventually made it back onto the streets. The whole ordeal was horrifying. Having to testify in court and relive my nightmare haunted me. The poor boy was only trying to protect his psychotic mother. This is where things get scary. I developed a drinking habit. One night after finishing off a bottle of whiskey, I went to lay on my bed. After a couple hours of sleeping, I woke up to the sound of the floor creaking outside my bedroom. I opened my nightstand drawer and retrieved my firearm. I was too scared to stand up. The door slowly creaked open. I was never the same after this. The boy I had accidentally shot was standing at the frame of my door. He looked like a zombie, skin ripped, one eye missing, maggots eating his face. The boy charged at me in this fast, limping pace, and out of fear, I shot at the figure. I proceeded to empty the magazine. After the smoke settled, I opened my eyes. He was gone. I cried, and the haunting events that I went through were born again in my head. I can't explain the events that took place that night, but the overwhelming stress this caused me made me retire early. I never thought I'd need therapy for making one mistake while trying to save someone. This story goes back to the year 2015. It was around 8 p.m. and it was summer, so at that time it was just getting dark. I live in a town where crime almost never happens. It is a very safe, rural area with few people. Here all the shops close early, so that night I went shopping around 7:40 and everything was quiet. I didn't have enough money on me to pay, but the shop owner told me to take what I had and come back with the rest of the money later. I got home, grabbed the rest of the money, and headed back to the store. I was listening to music on my way back to the store. I had bought new headphones and was trying them out. I was walking 2 blocks from my house when a motorcycle with 2 men came out of nowhere. The man on the back of the bike got off and took out a gun, pointed it at my head, and started yelling at me to give him everything I had. I was paralyzed in fear, but I managed to yell no. He yelled at me again to give him everything I had. He yelled, "Give me everything you got on you." And I just held my cell phone and headphones tight and yelled, "No, you will not steal from me," over and over again. The whole time, the gun was pointed at my face from a meter away. When the guy with the gun saw I wouldn't give them anything, he squeezed the trigger. I saw very clearly how he pulled the trigger on the gun. He got back on the motorcycle with the other man, and they took off at full speed. I didn't get shot. Everything happened in slow motion. I had to count my blessings, but it was the most terrifying experience I've ever had. As soon as they left, I ran away and got to the store. I arrived crying and shaking. It was hard for me to speak. I asked for help, and they called my mom, who came to pick me up in a taxi because I didn't want to walk home, even though it was 4 streets away. That was the first and last time I experienced a robbery attempt. It was the most damn stressful situation I've ever been through. I don't know how to describe the absolute panic I felt when I saw the barrel of the gun in front of my eyes, and all for a cheap cell phone and some headphones. God, they didn't give a crap about a girl's life. They put a gun to my face. I wish that no one has to go through this, much less children. I was lucky, but many are not, especially in the city to which my town belongs, where this is a common occurrence. This happened 7 years ago, but I still remember the fear I felt like it was yesterday. When I was in my early 20s, I worked the night shift at a bakery making the donuts. I loved that job. 3 nights of the week I would be with my coworker, and 2 nights I would work alone. It was summertime, and we were having some problems with the AC, so the maintenance guy, Andy, came at night when I was on the clock to work on it. The bakery was small and crowded during the day, so it was best for him to come when it was empty. Management always let me know when Andy would be there, so it was never a surprise. At first he was very pleasant, and I had no issues sharing space with him as we worked. One evening this changed. My one coworker was a little late. She said she lost track of time in the shower, so Andy piped in saying we should all shower together to save time, and starts laughing. It was creepy as hell. I also had stated I lived alone, with his response being, "Good, I have you all to myself then." After this night, I realized Andy wasn't the kind of guy I thought he was. I stopped speaking to him unless I had to, and before long, the AC was repaired, and I thought I was free of him. Fast forward to a night a few weeks later. I'm working alone. It's 2 in the morning. I'm trying donuts when I hear all of a sudden a loud banging on the front window. Startled, I look up and see who else but Andy. He's calling my name and asking to be let in. No one had said something to me about him coming that night. Andy then starts pulling on the front door handles. Luckily, it's locked. I run into a corner of the bakery where I can't be seen, and I tried calling my manager with no response. The phone starts ringing, and I can see the caller ID from where I'm sitting. It's Andy. He's being relentless and won't stop banging on the window and trying to pry the door open. My fear rising, I dial 911. The cops arrive within 10 minutes and search Andy's vehicle. In the backseat they find duct tape, a knife, and rope. They can't do anything though, because he hasn't harmed me. Andy told the police he was there to fix the AC. My manager calls me back in the morning and tells me the AC is working fine, and they never asked Andy to come. So whatever you planned for me, Andy, I'm glad I never found out. Let's never meet again.